Right, hello traders, let's dive into the premium video, and what I'm showing you at the moment is the DAX on the daily chart. Very interesting chart pattern, and let me just draw your attention to a few key elements of this, and then I'll talk about a trade that I took earlier today. Right, you can see we have this trend line coming across the tops that we met on Monday and then sold off into the 20 EMA. And now we are just sitting with a little topping tail just right on this fib level. So if I pan back, you can see this resistance level up here at 11,050. That's where the main thrust of the downside came in mid-August, and we're butting up against it, so we're struggling with this at the moment and moving sideways. But overall we are pinned in this apex with the moving averages beginning to sort of get sloppy, and including we are actually just narrowly under the 8 EMA. So where do we go from here? I'm shorting rallies here now because I think we are heading for a US rate rise, and I think the markets are not going to like it. They generally don't. I think it's going to cause some ripples. We've had an extremely long period of time since rates went up, and I think it's going to be a bit of a shock for the system, certainly initially. Now whether the markets settle down, get to grips with it, and then push on upwards, we'll see. But obviously when you're in an apex like this, it gets tough. It gets tough to really call it. But the fact we had such a huge sell on Monday sent the alarm bells out for me. So when we did push up and had that great move into the open, I shorted it once we got a sell signal, and the main sell signal actually came after the data move. Right, so let's just drill down to what we're seeing on the 15-minute chart. So we get a thrust into the open. The first 15 minutes on the open was good, and then we pushed up into this fib zone. And you can see, fibs are really good for support and resistance, and you can see that was a tough area. So we pulled right back here, threw in a 15-minute hammer on this fib zone here, and pushed back to the highs. And then once the data came out, we got to midday, just past the hour, we started to see some selling. Drahi was speaking, and if you set your charts around that period, you'll see where we begin to fail. This is a 3-minute chart. I've used 2-minute charts in the past. It's just a little bit cleaner. So you can see we come up, we just breach. Let me draw this properly. If you put the resistance on the opening high, hour after the open we reached that 10,985 and then sell. This was 50% fibs. You can throw your own fibs over it and you'll see. And we push back up, we just poke above, and then just as Drahi comes and speaks, we start to see the selling. That is actually this bar here is the bar that we get on his speech, and then we fall out of that and then drift our way just about down to the breakup area. So it's a boomerang trade. They ran it up very fast. This is typical when you get a market that moves up very quickly. You know, all those traders who missed out don't want to buy up here, so they drag it down so those guys can get a chance to get in it. So basic support and resistance and basic pivots gave you some big clues to this. Now let's just run through the clues. You can see when we come out of the gates, we got the 15,200 across in this small time frame. We come up very close to the big 11,000. We're literally 14 points shy of the big 2,000. We do a 50% retrace. So we've got wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and then wave 5, into the close. Okay, but the main pivots to be concerned about was the breakup area and the resistance. So if you were, so good, bear in mind when I've just talked to you about the daily, we were hitting a lot of, we're hitting a sell zone up here. So if you did no other short, if you stood aside, wait till the data came out, you would have got at least, that move to the downside. So you're not in the business of trying to get every single move. What you are in the business of doing is making a living. So if you waited for the pullback area, you could have got the push to the upside, and then if you're a day trader and you're nimble enough, you could have flipped it, even on a 15-minute, took it in a 15-minute chart and traded it right back down to the breakout area. Alright, if you want to play safe and limit the time you spend at your screen, I would suggest you just trade the Data 15 trade. So mark off the area that you get on the speaker area, and then trade whichever way it comes out of that. And it's quite clearly 960 in this particular situation was quite clearly the sell signal for that to come back down to the breakdown area. Okay, so that's the smaller time frame. That's the day trading put to one side, and so that's what I'm looking at in the bigger picture. So again, any pushes into 950, 960 are potential short areas for us to then come and test the 200. I think the next, this 200 EMA on the daily is crying out to be tested, I think. At which point, if we hold that, we could get another lift up. Otherwise, we've got retail sales on Friday, so we could come into the second half of this week testing this level here, and on retail sales, then see if that pushes to the upside. But overall, I'm just concerned. What I'm seeing here is I'm concerned that we are seeing a distribution pattern with the MACD just coming off and the RSI coming off. Yeah, RSI is divergent. That's a sure sign this market's struggling. When you see a divergence, your new highs in the markets, new high lows in the RSI, and the MACD coming off. Alright, this is a weighty resistance area here coming over the top anyway. So it could be that this market is getting ready to start to drift lower. Key Forex charts. Let's have a look at what the pound did today. So the pound's got this funnel pattern, a very weak funnel pattern. We're essentially in a big box. If you look at, if I just take this off a second, and then put the highs up here, that's the 2015 highs, that's the 2015 lows, and all we're doing is essentially just, here's the 200 EMA drifting above us, beginning to dip. So I think if we start to test these upper levels of resistance, and that is 153.20 area, that could be the place. In fact, I think I'm going to leave the fibs off here because this is so range bound. I'm just looking to sell the highs into this one, and that's an area 250 to 350. Somewhere around there is an area where I would look to get short, and obviously 350 will be nicer, to see if this can drift lower. So looking for this to push up into this area here, and then start to wind our way down to at least 145. And if we lose this footing here, then I think it could ultimately come as low as 135, 136, because of that box area there. If I repeat the size of that, so where that is it's about 500-600 points. So 500 points lower. Sorry, 1,000. That's 1,000 points. What am I talking about? No, it's not. It's 1,500 points. Get my maths right. Sorry, it's late in the evening. That's nearly 1,500 points. So that could be why we could be seeing a move down to these levels here, down to 135. Because when you come out of a box, you generally move to the size of the box. In the meantime, this is bullish, and we are holding this trend line. We are closing higher, so let's be patient and see what the market's going to give us. Another chart I'm interested in. I'm interested in the euro yen on the basis that I think the chances of the Bank of Japan increasing rates is slim. The chances of them increasing easing is 50-50 at this rate. In the meantime, I think the euro should be, with all the easing that's going on and very, very low interest rates, the euro should be recovering. So we're seeing a little bit of a bottoming pattern here. We've got the moving averages are fanning out, which shows you the downtrend is clearly in place. All the time we've got that, we could just fall out, break the lows, and drop down to this fib area here, 12800. But I'm just looking to see, because this is quite a key area here. And when we came down here, we pushed right up into that resistance area. So I'm just looking to see if there is an opportunity for this to push up and recover, and basically reverse. The key to that will be a close above 133.50. So if we close above the 20-day moving average here, that's an 820, 50, 200. We start closing above at least the 8 here at 132.50. That's a potential for that to start a recovery. I'm not suggesting it's going to be a massive recovery. It could just be a push back into this resistance area. Now, how to trade it? If we get a move down into 180, 190, 200 and hold tomorrow, then I would buy that with a very small stop, 50 point stop, and then see if that can climb higher. Okay, elsewhere not seeing a lot going. Pound yen, of course. I've been banging on about this pound yen for a while, so got paid nicely today. We had this trend line coming across the bottom. We drifted higher on very low volume and saw this tank on non-farm payroll. But if you notice, every time we've tanked here, we tanked there, there, and there. Every time we tanked, we found buyers. We found bargain hunters. So this is a bit of a short squeeze, and just proving that the pound has got some strength. So this is a buy at 186.50 to see if we can now test 188. This is one reason why I think the euro yen might start to push up on the back of this pound. I just think the euro yen might play a bit of catch up. That's the main charts I got out there. Let's look at one or two others before I go. I took 60 points to the upside in a gap fill on the oil, and then did another long and got stopped out. So just looking to see if this level can hold. But this, you can see how crucial this is. Another box play. So invents tomorrow, stand aside. Let's see what invents gives us. And you can see it's a crucial area. So whichever way we move out of this box is going to give us direction. I think this low of this box will get bought, and we could potentially at some stage go and visit 52.50, at least 50. So I would stay out of it and see where we are. The trend is obviously down. Let's see if it can get a push tomorrow to the upside. Otherwise, if you're a trend trader, which I hope you are a trend trader, just keep shorting any pushes higher until we get the close otherwise. But with invents, just stand aside and let's give it time just to tell us what it wants to do. Last but not least, this is the gold, and you can see the strength in the dollar showing here, which is really sort of sinking gold. And at this rate, we are extremely low here. That's not to say we could come up, it's just to say just be careful. If you're in this trade, well done. And I think US retail sales could be key to this. May just get one last bounce into the resistance area before this legs it down. Let's see what we've had recently. We've had one, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is still in the A wave correction. So B wave brings us up to 1135. This could be the place, the sort of area to get short to see if we can start to wind ourselves down to the $1,000 mark. Otherwise, if you are trading this, just get short and stay short. Alright, so I do hope that helps, and I'll be looking at the markets in the open tomorrow and look forward to seeing you then. Bye for now.